Cloudflare has released a thing called as code mode, which is great not just because it rhymes, but it's actually a way for you to give your agent an entire API of any arbitrary size in under 1,000 tokens. This is a blog post that they recently rolled out a couple of days back, and I want to go through this blog post because there are a lot of interesting things to learn, understand, and use for your own workflows if you are using something like an MCP, like an AI tool inside your own organization. MCPs have become the standard way for AI agents to use external tools, but there is a tension at its core. Agents need many tools to do useful work, yet every tool added fills the model's context window, leaving less room for the actual task. So let's actually, before we get into this, because I have not discussed MCPs in a lot of detail on this channel, I want to give you a little bit of idea what's going on. So see, an AI agent, or an AI system rather, I should say, on its own is not very useful, right? Because on its own, what you can do is just use it as a chat system, which we have done like a few years back. So ChatGPT, when it came first, the input was just text and the output was also just simply text, right? So you will give it input and you will get output. But an AI agent is supposedly allowed to do a bunch of work in real world, right? Maybe send you email, maybe, message you on Slack, maybe delete your hard disk, format it, whatever, making a blunder to your system, whatever you want to do it. So these are like real world actions which you want. This is not just text, right? But fundamentally, the limitation of an AI system is that it can only produce text. It can't do anything else beyond that. So what we have done is we have figured out a way to do that, and what we call that as is tool calling. Right? It used to be function calling initially when it was launched. Then it became tool calling. Tool calling is nothing but a fancy way of saying is that an AI system, this AI would respond in a JSON, in a specific JSON format over here, which your application understands. When I say application, I mean the client, which is calling this API for the AI provider, right? So the client would be able to understand it, and it's the client that actually takes the action, not the AI itself. Like there is no AI system like Jarvis or something, which is actually going and clicking something. The AI itself just returns the JSON, and it's the client, which is the software that you're using to access the AI, is the one responsible for parsing this and making the call. Now, the problem that happens is as you give more and more tools, for example, for email, you might want to give, a bunch of Gmail tools, right? Tool callings. If you want to give, Slack, then you have to give a bunch of Slack tools. Right? So this would become problematic because your AI can only work with a specific window, right? So it is, let's say if this is a 200K context size, so 200K tokens, basically, if you have this much window, then you can only fit this much information in an AI, right? And every single tool call that an AI makes has to be, the signature of that tool call has to be in the tokens itself as well, right? So this part, for example, could be the one that is just tool calls, right? Tools, basically. So what you don't want to do is, for example, this is Gmail tools, this is, let's say, Slack tools, and if you have like a third more service over here, what you would realize is that your AI is basically useless now after 3 tools information, because you have just fed the whole context window over here. So what we did in order to counteract with this is that we encapsulated these tools under something we call as MCP servers, right? Model Context Protocol. What this did is that it took all these tools information, like for Gmail, you have send, read the inbox, whatever, like add a filter, whatever, these tools, and you created an MCP server out of it. So instead of having all the tools at the fly at the given time of the AI making a decision, you just pass on the MCP server itself, which will shrink this context window over here. So every provider would have their own MCP server over here. And if needed, the AI can go ahead and get the MCP server and query it, and it will ask for the available tools, and then it will use that, right? Now, this obviously helps the initial size because now you can use this space over here for your actual call. But even this is not sufficient now, right? And this is what this blog post discusses, right? So we are at this point where now Cloudflare is also removing this MCP completely, because as you give more and more APIs, either for one single provider or for like multiple providers, it will keep on growing, right? The space will keep on growing. So what Cloudflare is suggesting is that instead of doing this MCP thing, what we can do is remove all of them and replace them with something that they're calling as code mode, right? Which will not only just take fewer tokens, so it'll be like much smaller than MCP, but it's also fixed size, so it will not grow as you are adding more and more stuff, right? All right, so let's go back to the blog post now once we have this intro, and let's look at what they're saying. So this is a blog post about introducing a new MCP server for the entire Cloudflare API, right? So they have created an MCP server, but they will use code mode in order to access that, right? You can find out their MCP server over here on GitHub. It's just a couple of days old, I think, couple of weeks rather. Not very popular, but this is something that you can use to, basically do any action on Cloudflare, right? That is what I was calling here. So if your AI wants to have like a new deployment going on Cloudflare, it will call the Cloudflare Cloudflare MCP server to figure out the tools that it is available, and then your client itself can make that call, right? What they're doing now is that with code mode, they are using just 2 tools, right? So this is not there inside code mode. This thing is not there. Instead of this, what they have is literally just 2 tools. First is search and second is execute, right? And rest of the whole context window is for like an actual call. So the AI can actually do real work. So these are like 2 tools, literally, not even MCP servers. And this is how they execute it. So this search and execute with these, server is able to provide access to the entire Cloudflare API over MCP while consuming only around 1000 tokens. The footprint stays fixed no matter how many API endpoints exist. For large APIs like Cloudflare API, code mode reduces the number of input tokens used by 99.9%, right? An equivalent MCP server without code mode will consume about 1.17 million tokens, more than the entire context window of most advanced foundation models. So you see over here, we have this raw open API spec and prompt as a comparison table that they have. It'll be about 2 million tokens, which is absurd. You can't inject that. What this means is that you are inside this window itself, you are adding like every single piece of information about every API, right? That's what they're saying. It's coming out to be 2 million. Then for native MCPs, they're saying about they have 2500, 2600 tools, and the token cost is still about like a million tokens for full schemas, which includes like optional parameters as well. If they drop it to just required params, this drops to about 244k, which is still over the limit. And if they are in code mode, finally, this is the one that makes it possible for a company as large as Cloudflare, because they have a lot of things to do, right? There are a lot of APIs, a lot of stuff that you can do. This drops it to basically 1000 tokens, which is great. So they have given us a little bit of architecture here on how the server side of code mode looks like. So what they're saying is that this new MCP server that they have applies code mode on server side. Instead of thousands of tools, the server exports just 2, search and execute. Both are powered by code mode. Here is the full tool surface area that gets loaded into the model context. So they specify these 2 tools inside the system prompt of the model, right? That is how you pass the available tools. And they're giving the search tool, which says search the Cloudflare OpenAPI spec. All references are pre-resolved inline. They give it an input schema with the type of string and a description of JavaScript async arrow function to search the OpenAPI spec. And then they have this execute function, which executes JavaScript code against the Cloudflare API. JavaScript async arrow function to execute. So you see over here, search itself requires you to pass code. So the LLM is not supposed to ask for, hey, what is the tool for this? The LLM itself is supposed to write the code in order to get the result that it also wants. And similarly for execute, right? For executing or, just making a change, this would also be code snippet. It will not be something which it tells Cloudflare and it has to make sense of that, right? To discover what it can do, the agent's called search. It writes JavaScript against a typed representation of OpenAPI spec. The agent can filter endpoints by product, path, tags, or any other metadata and narrow thousands of endpoints to the handful it needs. The full OpenAPI spec never enters the model context. The agent only interacts with it through code. All right, so this is interesting. See, what they're actually saying is that the agent produces this code, this async arrow function, which technically is not valid JavaScript, right? You're missing a function name, but anyway, the point is that this code is written by the LLM, and the LLM actually figures out what sort of APIs are there in order to achieve what it wants to do, right? So they have given an example of protecting an origin from DDoS attacks. Suppose a user tells their agent, protect my origin from DDoS attacks. The agent's first step is to consult documentation. It might call the Cloudflare docs MCP server or use a Cloudflare skill or search the web directly. From the docs, it learns, put Cloudflare WAF and DDoS protection rules in front of the origin. All right, so let's try to figure out what they're saying here. So Cloudflare wants that the agent, first of all, goes ahead and does a preliminary search, right? A small web search to figure out what it needs to do. It will figure out a basic approach on how to achieve what the user is asking. Once it has the basic approach, which is basically, in this example that they are giving, is something like WAF and DDoS, which is like built inside Cloudflare, right? So if you want to do something on those lines, they want to do this, but still the agent does not know like what code it has to execute or what it needs to done, because remember that the task of this agent is to do the thing end to end. It's not supposed to just tell the user what to do. It actually has to do it in the first place. So what they are saying is that once the agent has this information about WAF and DDoS, what you can do is now use this search tool that has been provided, right? And this is literally a tool which is there inside the system prompt that we discussed earlier over here, the search thing. So an agent will call this tool after writing smart enough code that what could be the rules that it wants, right? So you can see that it will write this code snippet and then Cloudflare would run this code in a worker's isolate and it will return it, right? So Cloudflare is providing you a free worker where it runs the arbitrary code that you are specifying, you're providing, and the agent gets it back, right? So Cloudflare effectively is giving you sort of like, a compute as a service, free compute as a service to your agent. And they say this, that the server runs this code in workers isolate and returns whatever you have requested, right? So I'm sure like they have very strict limits on this, so this can't be abused in the first place, because I can see this happening, where the search actually gets executed on a worker, Cloudflare worker, right? Which is basically a priced offering. They have like 30 cents per million executions, if I'm not wrong, which is the consumer pricing that they have. But they execute this free of cost, I'm assuming, and they return the result to your worker, right? And it gives you like the summary and stuff, whatever you need. So what they are effectively doing is that they're solving this problem where instead of you adding all the tools from an MCP inside the context itself, which will not be feasible, you let the AI write the code first to filter out the potential tools it might need from this preliminary basic approach, basic web search, and then let the worker interact with the system directly. So worker will send code, your agent will send code to the worker, and worker will respond with the JSON or whatever like the information is, right? So the model narrowed that to the WAF and the rule sets endpoints it needs without any of the spec entering the context window, right? This is the most important part of the article, is that you don't want to exhaust the context window, because there is so much that the model can focus its attention on. That's why you want to make sure that the things that are going inside this bar over here are as less as possible, because the less the content is, the more attention it can give to every single piece of information, and the faster it will be able to run as well. The model can also drill into a specific endpoint schema before calling it. Here it inspects what phrases are available on zone rule sets, right? So what it can do is it can keep on writing this code again and again, right? And it will keep on executing it, and the server will keep on returning the JSON, right? So what effectively Cloudflare has done is that it has given your AI agent the ability to talk to the API over here via code, right? So they have introduced this layer called code, because the reason they have done this is because they don't want to do natural language parsing over here, right? One way to do about this is that, natural language parsing. So for example, the AI agent can itself say to Cloudflare that, hey, I'm looking for something like this. And then Cloudflare might have to deploy like an AI system here itself to make sense of that query, and then do something else entirely, right? We don't know what they'll do. Probably something like this only. So instead of doing like natural level language parsing, what they are asking your AI agent is to write the code in the first place, which they can securely execute by themselves. So they'll take that responsibility. They don't want your AI agent to execute it on your own system. This is not going to happen, primarily because of two reasons. First is, of course, that your own system does not have the data that Cloudflare has, right? You don't have the API spec available with you. And second of all, this also gives them the option to update this API anytime, right? If they want to make like an API spec change or whatever, they can just do it easily over here, and there is no synchronization or nothing that you need to update file wise on your end. So you can see like they're telling it about like, you can just go ahead and keep asking about different things and different stuff based on the paths and the information that the agent replies with, the worker replies with. And then once the agent is confident, it can act on the API, right? So the agent switches to execute now. The sandbox gets a Cloudflare.request client that can make authenticated calls to the Cloudflare API. First, the agent checks what rule sets already exist in the zone. So it will do like a bunch of, again, like it's basically the agent is talking with Cloudflare directly, right? So they have given it a way to talk to the system without having the cost of having AI on both sides, right? So they're using code as a communication layer again, instead of these two systems talking with each other in natural language. So the thing becomes is that you are the one who's talking with AI agent in natural language. AI agent on your behalf is actually using code, which is supposedly what we used to do when we were not replaced by AI systems. So this is what you used to do directly earlier, right? So we would used to have this code directly and with the Cloudflare API, but now the AI agent itself is there, and they have introduced the standard where agent writes the code, gets the result, and keeps on doing this. So this is sort of like a loop which keeps on happening until and unless agent is not satisfied, and this code can operate in either search mode or it can operate in an execute mode, right? So which will actually do some mutations or some changes. It can also be just read only, right? If it's just requesting some rules or something, it can be read only. The agent sees that the managed DDoS and WAF rules already exist. It can now chain the calls to inspect their rules and update sensitivity levels in a single execution. So they're saying that the entire operation from searching the spec, inspecting the schema, to listing the rule sets, and then fetching DDoS WAF configurations took about 4 tool calls, which is much less than what could potentially be ever the case for a generic agent, right? Remember that this agent is not just supposed to do this task, it's supposed to do anything, right? You might seem like, okay, I can also feed these 4 tools and just make the prompt, make this prompt to the agent. Yes, you can do that and it will succeed, but you don't want to do that because next you might want to modify something on Cloudflare R2, you want to modify something on DNS or domains or whatever. So you want this AI agent to be smart enough to figure out what needs to be done. And that is why they flaunt this thing, right? That we are able to reduce the context window a lot because you don't have to prepare your agent ahead of time. It can write the code to search for what it needs. So they compare a couple of approaches that they have done already. They first said that we started with client-side code mode, not server-side, right? So this code which was getting executed, this was not happening on Cloudflare. It was happening on my system itself, right? This is one which I crossed out. They said the trade-off was that it requires the agent to ship with secure sandbox access. Code mode is implemented in Goose and in Anthropic's Claude SDK as programming tool calling. So what this means is your agent, if it does not has the ability to run code on the system in a secure way, right? Because it's a company, it's a big company. Cloudflare can't just run arbitrary code on your system directly, right? So it is supposedly running in a secure sandbox. If the agent does not ship with that, then it will be a problem, right? They do mention like Anthropic's Claude SDK as programming tool calling, which is basically exactly the same thing that we have talked about, right? So instead of you just specifying all the data, all the tools in a single go, you actually give the ability for the Claude agent to write code, which will then be able to filter out tools that it needs. Command line interfaces are another path. The CLIs are self-documenting and reveal capabilities as the agent explores. Tools like OpenClaw and Moltworker convert MCP servers into CLIs using MC Porter to give agents progressive disclosure. The limitation is obvious that the agent needs a shell, which not every environment provides and which introduces a much broader attack surface than a sandbox isolate. So what they're saying is that it's also possible that, we just give like a Cloudflare CLI, something that allows anyone to manage anything. If you're in your terminal and if you write, for example, just giving an example, Cloudflare R2 public access and then the bucket name, for example, then your agent pretty much has to figure out this final command to execute, right, over here. So it does not has to write code for that, or maybe it can. But the drawback here is that obviously that you're writing it again on the system itself, which also gives the agent shell access, which clearly violates the principle of least privilege here, that the AI agent is only supposed to make one HTTP call to update whatever API part it needs to update inside Cloudflare, but it has the whole shell available to it, right, which is bad, which you don't want to do. And then dynamic tool search as well. Surfaces a smaller set of tools hopefully relevant to the current task. It shrinks the context used, but now requires a search function that must be maintained and evaluated. But I think code mode sounds good, right? As long as if you are, somebody who is building a system or an app which requires like an MCP, and if you can provide an experience like this where you can give like a worker isolate per execution, just like Cloudflare is doing for executing this arbitrary code, I think this is the way to go about designing the modern MCP servers, right, for your AI systems, AI agents. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I really like this approach that Cloudflare has done, and this is like a new way of, sort of an evolution of how MCP tools or tool calling used to work. So maybe you were able to take away some new pointers for your current job, company, startup, project, whatever you're doing. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next video very soon.